everything.
It's your first time in London, right?
No, I've come to London twice a year since the first time I've been here. I love this city. I really do. And it's a weird reason why. I love the tube.
Yeah, really. It's crammed and polluted and noisy.
It's you don't need a car.
That's right.
That's amazing to me. I mean,
definitely
where I
in the
live,
US, huh?
it's a mile to the corner store and several miles more to anything else. So and we don't have trains.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
The only place that a subway exists in my country is New York City.
Yeah. Right. Really.
There might be other places, but that's the only place I know of.
I was unaware.
Oh wait, San Francisco has a small,
right,
small one.
All right, let's do it. Cool. So anyway, a few questions, I suppose, because I just listened to your previous convo with the camera. I want to ask some things. Do you think there's no value in a story that isn't true? Can you get value from a story that isn't true, as in the way that you imagine truth?
I quite enjoyed Harry Potter. Is that what you're saying? I mean,
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I like Star Wars.
Right. So, if people can draw value from that, that's a good thing. Could that also be applied to mythological stories?
If somebody's proposing that Star Wars really happened, then it's no value. No, that becomes a lie.
Okay. So, your main issue with religion is that it asserts itself as fundamentally true.
And it's dishonest. Because it is dishonest to assert baseless speculation as though it were a matter of fact. That is fundamentally a lie, but that is the basis of all religion.
Yeah, but we're not choosing to run our society by Harry Potter or otherwise any story that we like either, right?
Well,
in parts of the world,
here's the other thing.
Religion has been affecting the entire nation.
Yeah. The other big
I haven't really started discussing my viewpoint yet.
The other big problem with religion is that it rewards belief, right? I don't know of any religion that judges you by what you actually do, right? But the big ones judge what you believe, and that alone is immoral.
Okay.
I mean, so if I'm a good, charitable, decent, kind human being,
you're still
I'm going to hell.
Yeah, right. I understand.
Why?
It's not
Why? Because I didn't believe impossible nonsense for no good reason.
Yeah, right.
Because some raving lunatic told me crap I know can't be true, and I didn't believe that fool. So I'm going to hell. By the way, fool. Everybody wants to bring up the fool says in his heart there is no God, right? The dictionary says that a fool is somebody who too readily, or collection of dictionaries said that a fool is one who too readily accepts improbable claims on questionable sources on insufficient evidence. But that's a fool.
Right.
So it's no surprise to me that since the Bible and the Quran are both trying to fool you, that they both reverse the definition of fool to someone who does not believe in possible. A fool is somebody who does not believe in possible nonsense.
Okay. Yeah. So another way of asking a question would be, if you could separate, let's take Islamic. Yeah, I mean, this guy's really working against his cause right now. Screaming nonsense so nobody else can talk. Keep going. Anyway, so I'll try.
Okay.
So, what I want to say is, let's say Christianity and Islam, and they're asserting what they have as the truth, and you must believe, right?
Have you read the Quran?
I've read parts of it.
All of it says the same thing.
Right, no, I'm aware.
I've only read a third of it so far, but all it says, the third that I read in the order of Revelation, all the way through, believer you go to hell, believer you go to hell, believer you go to hell.
I noticed that. I did notice that.
Damn!
In the 70 pages that I read. So what I want to say to you, man, is take these two ideas, these mythological ideas.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm really interested in is value that can be drawn from stories, from ancient stories that might be representative of deeper truths that lie within our subconscious. That's what I mean. I'm no fan of religious dogma at all. I'm not going to stand here and try and defend it. No, that's a fruitless endeavor. But what I am aware of is that certain ideas that you can hold can really help you in life, and you are not able to demonstrate them as being true. I've experienced that myself, you know? It's quite different from a dogmatic approach saying everyone's going to hell if you don't follow what I believe. The thing that I'm wary of is maybe a strong insistence with atheism, because I don't actually know where you come from or what you think about so accurately, but for me, an anti-theist position, is that not hubristic in a sense?
Anti-theism means that I'm against religion.
Okay.
That I think the religion is a net negative against humanity. That what little good that it has done, here or there in some isolated instance, is overwhelmed by the evil that it has wrought throughout history everywhere it has ever been. That's why my country was originally set up to be a secular nation. The founding fathers wanted a wall of separation because they knew that every single time a church gets control over rule over law,
Right.
automatic violation of human rights. Every time.
Yeah, right.
And what religion isn't inherently criminal?
I'm not sure I can answer that one, but what I would like to say again is something a bit poetic, but do you think that man can live on facts alone?
Yes.
I mean in the sense of being comfortable with existential crises.
Yes.
It seems to me that for many, of course, yes is the answer, but for a large number of people, maybe it's not. Because we're not all the same, you know what I mean? We're running on different preconceptions.
People tell me that their faith means more to them than anything. It sounds very much like to me like somebody who's defending their heroin addiction. Right? I see religion as being very much like a strong addiction, like heroin.
Okay.
And delightful
It's hard to have a balanced
Just
discussion.
to quickly answer your question, I think religion is, it's shown that poor people are far easier led into religion, and that they have a lot of anxiety, and they have a lot of, uncertainty about the future, so it gives them comfort. Whereas, the more
I wouldn't say it's only poor people, man.
I think statistically it's shown to be the case.
Well,
Yeah,
okay, maybe so.
if you have-
statistically, the lower your level of education, the more likely you are to believe in a God.
Okay, no, I can see that being the case.
And there's
But I don't
also
see it.
emotional conditioning.
But I don't see that as a bad thing. Why is that intrinsically bad?
I think your
Why are
question
lies
was-
bad?
Your question was whether man
Is that
can live
your-
on facts.
Is that your question?
Well,
The question was whether men can live on facts alone, implying that there is something missing. And I'm just telling you that it's more around the poverty lines that they are more gullible to believing in religion because it gives them comfort.
So,
Whereas the richest people, they don't believe in religion. And they have
would you agree that I should not state as fact things that are not evidently true?
yeah, in the general sense, yes. But another thing to say would be something that it might lead this convo down a different path, but we don't need to go there. Is what can we demonstrate to be true? If you know what I mean. If you, from my understanding, it's awareness. It's your own understanding that something is aware, that something is happening is the only thing that we can know to be the case. Everything else, who knows, man?
I often say that the truth is what the facts are, right? The facts are objectively verifiable. It's objectively verifiable data. So if I want you to show me the truth of it, then I want you to show me what we can show to be true about your belief. If you do the same to me, I will be able to demonstrate, okay, why do I hold this position? Is because of this evidence backs it up and shows that it's right.
Right. Okay.
And religion doesn't do that. It just repeats the assertion.
Okay, I understand. So the line that I'm trying to investigate these days is the value that can be gained from spiritual belief, which is a different idea from religion. And I really think there is value to be gained in that. And
How? How could there be?
well,
Okay, there is no spirit. There is no afterlife. We have physicists showing that there's no possibility of a spirit. Literally. There's literally no possibility.
why not?
Because in order to say whether something is possible, we have to have a precedent or parallel or verified phenomenon indicating that such possibility exists. We do not have that for spirits or for anything supernatural.
But something to say about that is, from my reasonably limited knowledge, I studied biology by the way, but a little bit of knowledge of science, is that throughout the ages we've gone through tiers and iterations of worldviews that have become progressively more expansive. But previous to that expansion, people might have been saying similar things that you just said, that, well, that's entirely impossible. Nobody around here could ever think something like that. All the evidence we have at the moment says it's impossible. And then maybe
No, I'm
20
saying-
years
I
later,
said
revolution in thought.
There's a difference between saying it's impossible and saying there's no possibility. The possibility is the thing you can demonstrate. This is the data that indicates that possibility exists. You can't show me the data that indicates that possibility exists, so there is no possibility.
You get my point though. Scientific knowledge advances, so it's possible that it might advance to a stage where it might show these things to be the case. I think it's not
Show what things to be the case?
the things you said, things that we consider to be supernatural. at the
No,
moment.
they've already gone beyond that and shown that it's not just that there's no possibility, there's not. There's no soul. That doesn't happen.
Interesting. One of the first things I remember a biology professor telling me in the first lecture I went to at university was, if a scientist ever tells you that something's a fact, it's not a good scientist.
So scientists don't believe in facts.
No, it's
objectively verifiable data. Scientists don't accept.
That's obviously not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that if somebody's saying that this can never be changed, they maybe have a narrow view on possibility. I think our universe is incredibly strange.
It's not just that there's no. It should be enough that there is no evidence for a soul. We should be done. Okay, we've got literally nothing to talk about. But we've gone beyond that. We have evidence of no soul. So not just a lack of evidence for a soul, we actually have evidence that there is no soul. So
how would there be evidence of no soul?
Because you can test for everything that the soul should produce. Now I'd have to refer you to Sean Carroll's lecture on that. He's repeated that lecture a number of times. If you contact me, I'll get you the link.
Sure, but how would we know the constituting substance of a soul to be able to measure it?
Well, if you're going to ask me about physics, you probably should talk to a physicist.
But you know what I mean? It seems to me that the soul is a spiritual idea, not a physical manifestation.
Yeah, but it's
Actually,
also...
You're quite wrong. We have not been able to establish whether a soul exists or not.
No, not only do we not have evidence of no soul, but they have now actually established evidence of no soul.
No,
Yes.
there was a most recent interview by the most leading neurologist.
Okay, that claim is coming from Sean Carroll. Take it up with Sean Carroll. He's the physicist who's making that claim.
But just one scientist doesn't, if one scientist...
How many scientists does it take?
How do you observe a soul? I mean,
That's my question.
Right, exactly.
So when you say a scientist is making a claim, surely they must have conducted an experiment. And as
More
far
than
as
that.
I'm
He's got more than that. He has.
reference to a scientific interview.
He actually has rather a huge equation to prove it.
An equation
Yeah.
to observe a soul. What's the tool that he uses?
What's
So
the
it's a theory
tool?
or it's an actual experiment to prove?
I don't want to go over his lecture because I don't do.
So it's a theory.
No, it's not a theory.
What's his name?
A theory is a hypothesis that has been effectively
Because
proven.
surely you must conduct an experiment.
Yeah, a theory is a body of knowledge or field of study of a hypothesis that has been effectively proven. So this is not a theory. This is not the highest level of confidence that science can achieve. It doesn't qualify as a theory. Got it? Okay.
Okay. And I'm telling you,
My most hated argument is when people say, well, it's just a theory. Yeah, atomic theory's just a fucking theory.
No, I understand
we
your
are talking
resistance to
about
that,
conclusions of fact.
but I'm
You're
agreeing with
making a
him.
claim it does not exist, or
Right.
that you're implying there's actually an
It
experiment.
would be
to establish
enough.
fact.
Having no evidence of the soul,
No,
wait. Having no evidence of a soul is enough to say that there is no soul. Having no possibility of a soul is extra, and now we have evidence that there is no soul.
Earlier, when it was religion, you went on the path of having faith. So you demanded actual evidence of fact.
Right. And so we have the basis where you
Now,
want to
you're making
claim,
a claim,
as
and
I have
something
said
exists.
to you earlier today, if you make a claim that anything exists, you've made the claim, the positive claim, you then have to put up the burden of proof. It's not up to me to prove that the thing does not exist.
I agree. But you've said that there's no possibility of it.
Right. So if you want to present that there is a possibility, then show me what that possibility is. What is the precedent or parallel or verified phenomenon indicating that that possibility exists?
No, I can't.
Then there's no possibility.
Wow, very funny.
No, what thing?
So what I mean is that this study is Sean Carroll, you said?
Yeah.
I'll look that up for sure.
Okay,
It just
I
seems
don't.
like something that
I don't want to. I don't
very
want to make it as
interesting.
my claim. That's what he says.
Yeah, okay.
So he's claiming to have shown that this does not exist.
And you agree with him on that? With the evidence
I
you
said
put forward?
it's enough for me that there's no evidence of a soul,
Okay.
nor possibility of one.
Right,
Why?
okay.
Why would you believe someone?
What?
Why would you believe someone that you don't actually understand the maths? Because
I
there's just one scientist.
Don't.
For the same number of scientists that claim there is no
I
soul,
don't.
you don't.
I don't.
You don't
Why would you believe what I don't believe?
Oh, so
I
you don't
don't believe.
Oh, so you don't believe him anyway?
What?
But you.
I said it is enough that there is no evidence of a soul. We're done. We literally have nothing to talk about. There's nowhere else we need to go. No evidence. No. The claim is false.
Because of one man's claim.
What one man's? Some men said there is a soul. Show me the evidence of the soul. You can't. You're done. You're wrong.
But why would you believe
An
the negative?
unsupported assertion
But he's never
And
believed in any
I'm not
evidence.
talking about him.
Okay.
I'm talking about the claim of a soul.
But surely, one way or another, you need to prove to either accept.
No, not one way or another. You make a positive claim that a thing exists. The burden is on you, solely on you. You're making the claim the thing exists. You have to produce the evidence. If you cannot, then you are wrong. The thing does not
I
exist.
agree with you, but a few minutes ago, you referenced a scientist,
Yes.
and you said you believe it doesn't exist because of X, Y, Z. There is an equation.
Yes.
That's where you went wrong. But we can move
That's
on.
not where I went
Yes,
wrong.
you did.
No.
Did it not say there is a scientist that has?
There
an
is a
equation
scientist
that
who's,
proves that
yes,
it
who's
doesn't
conducted a
exist?
study, who's claimed that he's found evidence
And you
that
said you don't believe it exists.
I don't believe him. I don't need to believe him. It's enough that there is
Okay,
no
let's leave
evidence.
it there. Let's leave it
And
there.
there's no possibility. So, an unsupported assertion, a soul. Wait. You made it. Wait. Okay, let me finish this, please. This is important. This is integral to my position. An unsupported assertion has no more credence than a claim that has been proven wrong. So if you make the claim that God exists, a soul exists, Jesus talked to you, your dead ancestors live inside you, you had a past life as an Aztec, whatever you want to say, if you can't back it up, it's false. Thank you.
Okay, so after that, oh my ears. Right. This is not what I'm used to. I'm used to nice, calm discussions, which is an unusual thing in Speaker's Corner. But anyway, so
It is. I haven't been here many times, but it's been a madhouse every time.
I try to change the mode on that, man. But okay, so let's see. I want to present some ideas maybe, because here's an idea. I know we both agree that religions have done terrible things in the past, but
No, not in the past.
And in the
Always
present.
and forever.
Okay, well, fine. But is that because religion is? I would be that religion is made by man.
Yeah.
Like I'm not following these religions, right? So it's an idea that man has brought forward. We're trying. I would say it's a method of trying to understand the world, right?
And that it's
like,
a method of achieving political and financial power through the manipulation of the masses.
It can also be that, absolutely.
And,
Right.
and what religion isn't?
Right, okay, that's fine. So, on the large scale, yeah. So, what I would like to say is that if that arises spontaneously from man, from the human, this trying to rationalize the world, or maybe rationalize is the wrong word, but trying to understand the world in a certain way and creating mythological stories to maybe elucidate archetypes that we experience throughout our lives, for me, that is if that's something we do intrinsically, it doesn't seem to me it needs to be by necessity something bad.
Yeah, until you demand that they believe it.
Okay,
And
I agree
that's
with that.
what makes it religion immoral. They demand that you believe, or else.
Right.
A fate worse than death.
So, for example, if I found somebody here that was a religious person that lived their life in a religious way, but was entirely not comfortable with ever forcing upon anyone else, you would say their way of life is fine for them.
As long as they're not hurting anybody else, I don't care.
Okay.
But if they're promoting lies, and my big motivation is I normally take on creationists.
Right, yeah.
So I set aside in one category people who believe things that are not evidently true. Mm-hmm. But religion only makes two claims: things that are not evidently true and things that are evidently not true.
Right.
So there's no truth to any of it, but there are a handful of lies.
Well,
There's things that are not truth, and then there's things that are lies. So with creationism, there's things that are lies, and so there's things we can prove are not true. Mm-hmm. So
Okay,
we don't
fine.
have to have the faith base.
Yeah.
Because I don't like arguing like interpretations of scripture, because the same 5 people can read the same scripture 5 different ways, right? And it means something very different to them.
right. Yeah.
So anyway, and I've seen this demonstrated countless times. But I like to argue against the creationists because we have things we can actually demonstrate and prove to be true about evolution. And then we see where the belief system comes in, where they don't care what the truth is. They want to believe something else. And I've seen people literally grown people stick their fingers in their ears, go la 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 la, so that they don't hear.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to understand.
But why? That's key. Why does that happen? Why are they blocking that info? Why?
That's a curiosity to me, because only a couple of times, have I gotten somebody cornered where they know they can't answer the question, and they can't dodge the question either, and they can't escape, right? And then they go into a psychological meltdown.
Right.
Because they can't admit.
Is that not immoral?
A model?
Scottish.
Oh,
Immoral.
sorry.
Immoral. Is that action of doing that not a bad action? I'd say maybe it is.
Yeah, well, it's the same as an intervention or waking somebody up. The first response is to get angry at the person who woke you. right? Even if you're doing them a favor.
Well, that's from your perspective, the favor.
If I'm saving you from a lie, if you save me from a lie, I have believed all kinds of ridiculous shit. I was a Christian for a while. I was a neo-pagan occultist after that.
Right.
I was seduced by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
My head.
Yeah, Krishna. I read his books. You know, I believed in a whole lot of supernatural mumbo jumbo. I believed in extraterrestrials, Bigfoot, Loch Ness monsters, theory of Atlantis, everything required to be a Ghostbuster. I believed all of that shit.
Nice.
And I was proud that I was that gullible.
Okay.
But then one by one I find out there's no truth to all of these things. And it's not that I have to prove they're wrong.
Can I ask you a
It's
question?
enough that there's no proof they're right.
Did you come to that conclusion by yourself through your natural exploration of it? Or did somebody blast it out of you?
On occasion, it's somebody points it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the time, it's me doing it myself. The big one for me was Curlian photography. There was a show called In Search Of in the 1970s. It was hosted by Leonard Nimoy. For whatever reason, everything he said sounded logical.
Yeah, right.
Right? So he's doing the show, and they have this thing where they have these photoelectric plates, and they put a leaf on the plate, they press the plate, and then they turn the thing on. It takes a picture of the leaf, but not a normal photograph. It shows it up in like tiny phosphorescent blue sparks for the electrical imagery.
Okay.
You see all the veins in the leaf and everything.
Yeah.
Then they cut the leaf in half, and that part's real. Then they cut the leaf in half, put it on the photoelectric plate again, and do it again. And then initially, you only get this part of the leaf that you would expect to see. But on an overexposure, you see the whole leaf. That is proof of life force. Or so I thought as a 12-year-old boy watching this show that I thought was science. Because they didn't say, this is bullshit. They said, this is science.
Right, yeah.
So I'm being lied to.
Okay.
So I'm a grown-up. I think, oh, you know what? I haven't seen anything about Curlian photography in many years, so let me just look it up now that I got the internet, and I find it where there was an admission by Leonard Nimoy that they made all that shit up just for entertainment.
I understand.
I was fucking devastated. I based my belief system on this scientific evidence that turned out to be hoax.
So, you use the term proof. Isn't proof quite a strong term? Shouldn't it just simply be that a religion or a hypothesis or a theistic hypothesis just has to be rendered probable by the evidence? I think proof
That is
too
proof.
much. Sorry?
Proof is an overwhelming preponderance of
I
evidence.
need to understand what you mean by proof, because proof
An overwhelming preponderance of evidence.
an overwhelming preponderance of evidence. But you don't need that for you to be rational to believe something. All you have to be is that your belief has to be rendered probable by the evidence. That means over 0.5 probability. Then it's rational to believe it.
Okay.
But if you're saying
the
an
example
over,
I just gave would be it would be rational if I'd been told about this science
yes.
to make that conclusion.
Yes, so that's important. No, it was just when you were saying before about religion, you said you didn't find any proof. So I was just thinking, well, proof sounds like a bit too much of a strong term.
Okay.
Because it seems like you're saying it has to be significantly probable.
I will
for someone to be
concede that.
rational to believe it.
I will concede that. Where proof is an overwhelming preponderance of evidence, I don't have evidence of religion.
Okay.
So the evidence would be objectively verifiable facts. That's not, God came into my heart.
Yes.
That doesn't work. But there has to be something that positively supports one position, or only supports one position. So eliminating another, and it has to be one over the other. So you can't have this logically. You can't have the same fact be evidence of two different mutually exclusive conclusions. Then it's just a fact. It doesn't become evidence until it points to one or the other.
Right, nice one.
So summary definition would be a fact that indicates.
Okay.
So a previous question that I was saying was when you said that you've encountered people that forcefully try and extradite themselves from a situation that have to confront their cognitive dissonance with evidence that contradicts their spiritual belief. Mouthful. That there, why does that occur? Why does that fear occur? Because it's going to lead me to my next point, I suppose. Because maybe for a lot of people, being confronted, taking away, you would say it as a lie, religious ideas, maybe taking that lie away from them could result in something worse if it's not done in I imagine, a slow, incremental, self-discovery way. That's something I want to put forward. If they're panicking after having the reasons why they lived a certain way taken out from them, maybe that's not a good thing to do.
I disagree.
You disagree? Why?
Because there's no value in the lie.
No value at all.
Right.
Well, what if you're in a...
You can get value out of watching Star Wars.
What about the reduction of suffering?
But you shouldn't base your history on a galaxy a long time ago and far, far away.
Obviously, right. But
So
I'm
if
saying...
you're judged for whether you believe Star Wars, then it becomes a moral issue.
There'll be a lack of it. just adding, there'll be a lack of instrumental value. You won't be able to successfully reach your goals if you're basing your belief on something that doesn't correspond to reality.
Not
So if you're
necessarily at all.
No, you won't be able. Your ultimate goals. If you're basing your belief on something that's completely false, okay, it doesn't correspond to reality. That proposition does not correspond to reality.
Let's say
So
Islam.
if you are,
Let's say Islam. Say you have a devout
Yes,
Muslim,
yes.
and maybe you are of the
Yes.
view that this is nonsense,
Yes.
and they live by other people's accounts, a successful, peaceful life.
Yes.
Well, is that not a
No,
refutation?
but their ultimate goal would be worshipping Allah and would be getting to heaven.
Right.
But if that's false, that's not going to happen. So if they're basing their belief on it, there is no instrumental value on it.
But after their death, if there's no
No,
consequence.
yes,
then,
I'm saying.
then
So I'm
what's the
saying
problem?
there is no no, but there is a consequence because they've lost out on something that they had on this earth. So there is no instrumental value on them basing that belief on that.
So you're wanting
Yes.
to.
I'm a Christian, by the way.
You're
I'm a
wanting.
Christian,
Oh,
yes.
okay, that's
Yes.
fine. You're
Yes,
wanting
yeah.
other people to live by the values that you.
No, I would just say, no, I would
you-
not say that. I would just say. I would just say a rational person should proportion their belief to the evidence. So
okay, but-
that's what I would say. And because there's intrinsic value in that it's good to seek truth, but there's also instrumental value in that because then you will more than likely successfully achieve your goals.
Yep.
But if you're basing your belief on something that's completely false, you're not going to do that ultimately. Maybe you'll have some minor goals or mediatory goals or things like that. You'll be able to help people in that. But your ultimate goal of getting to heaven won't happen. So what's the point of doing that? You're basing your life on something that's not going to ultimately be successful.
I'm not sure that we can say that with certainty. I'm not sure.
No, I'm not saying with certainty. I don't believe you can.
it's a moot point.
It's very rare. Things that you can hold to with certainty are very rare. I'll say mathematical and logical truths. But outside of that, things have to be held with a certain probability value. So I would say some things are significantly probable. That you exist next to me, I hold to it being significantly probable. I don't hold to it with certainty. I might be completely hallucinating. Okay, but I would say that if someone wants to successfully reach their goals, they should base their belief on something which is supported by the evidence.
Okay,
If I could
let
back
me
up
say
what he
this.
just said, if I
Sure.
could back up what he just said, Hume said that we have to make these certain presuppositions that other people exist, for example, because it is literally not possible to function otherwise. So we have to make the same assumption that an animal would, or a beast or a baby would make, because it's the only way to succeed. It's the only way to exist.
Right.
It
In
would
the
literally
physical
be madness
world.
not
Yeah,
to.
for real. So what I would say to what you were saying there, man, is if I could slip my mind. Fuck.
I'm sorry.
No, that's why I wanted to jump in, but you went forward. But
Sorry.
it doesn't matter. So
Yeah, I was
right.
just saying about
Okay.
getting instrumental value goals.
Yeah, so for me, it seems that it's possible to live in the world as a scientific rationalist, but still hold non-scientifically provable spiritual beliefs and live successfully. For me, you can do both.
No, you can do that. I'm just saying
So-
it won't be rational. It won't be practically rational.
Yeah. Rational means the belief is based on evidence.
Right,
If the
well,
belief is
fine.
not based on evidence, then it is not rational by definition.
That's fine. That's
Okay,
that's
so
fine,
it is
but
irrational.
Well, I'm not concerned. I'm
Okay.
concerned
Should we-
with the
should we-
real-world practical
Should we
application.
promote irrational beliefs?
How can you
Well,
have
if
a
it has- if
practical
it doesn't-
application of a spiritual belief?
No, I mean,
And if you don't have a practical application of spirit, then you literally have no value in that belief.
is it for you to apply value to somebody else's beliefs?
Yes.
If I'm going to have the
Yes.
belief,
I mean, yes.
I mean,
If
can.
you believe in Jesus and I say you
Yes.
shouldn't, why should I be saying
I'm
that?
saying that we can sit down together and think about what beliefs are intrinsically or instrumentally valuable. We can go and do that.
Yeah.
I think we can. There are some things which would just seem like they have no value in it at all. Can't think off the top of my head, but you probably can sit down and think, if someone devoted their whole life towards doing this just seems like it has no value. You understand? But
I understand.
obviously we debate about the level of value. So something might have more value to someone than another thing. But that something has value, I think we can agree on.
Because I'm from, I suppose, an anarchistic viewpoint of not wishing to force any of my ideas or viewpoints or value structures upon other people. Force the key word.
yeah, if I may,
Sure.
the reason I'm an activist is because I don't live here. I live in Texas,
So it's more.
where the right-wing the religious right owns and controls everything at every level of state and federal government, and they are legislating their religion onto us.
Okay, yeah.
And while they say that they want smaller government, they want a smaller government that governs everything you do in the bedroom.
Theistic government.
Right.
Yeah, right. No, I'm opposed to that. Absolutely. I'm just very interested in the other ideas that we were saying.
I would say that we can impose our beliefs on certain things. I would say that as a society, we should impose our belief that child paedophilia is incorrect. I think you would agree with me.
Well, sure, but this is quite different from
No, but
talking
I'm
about
saying-
value structures.
No, but I'm saying to you, you just said categorically. You made a categorical statement that you are someone who shouldn't oppose beliefs. But I say no. There are certain beliefs that we would do that, but there are certain things that we would, think about. Maybe we shouldn't
No,
do.
I understand.
That's not our place.
What I meant was quite
Yeah,
specific.
I was just responding
like,
to that.
for example, a belief in the afterlife. You shouldn't. I want you not to hold that belief because it's stupid for you. I don't.
that's-
I'm not
that's
with that.
different.
I'm not with that at all. But the other thing, well,
Well, there is a downside even just to believing in the afterlife, because people have a tendency to give the thing where that this life is just an arduous trial that you have to make it through in order to get to your great prize. And so they end up depriving themselves of every pleasure they have in life because every pleasure is somehow a sin.
Right, I get
So
you.
that person has literally wasted the only life they know they actually have.
wasted from your perspective, though.
If they can't even enjoy living and in effect don't live,
Wasted from
they've
their
wasted their
perspective
lives.
as well, because if there are certain experiences that you could have had but you don't know about them, then by definition you've wasted a certain aspect of your life because your society hasn't been open to allowing you those experiences, and that's the problem.
Are all experiences worth experiencing?
Well, no, having
Right.
having the option of
mean, let's look at the
talk
concept
about
of-
sexual experiences. S&M, some people are into it, some aren't.
Let's talk about
But
forbidden
you can at least
knowledge.
choose, and you can find out information for yourself about what that entails, and then make a judgment.
Right.
So because society is that open.
So there's the concept of forbidden knowledge that religion has, that you're not supposed to know certain things. That is abhorrent to me. You can know anything that you're interested in. There's no such thing as forbidden knowledge. Find out whatever you want, and learn. Be open to that. You shouldn't be punished for that sort of thing, but that's the kind of thing that religion is teaching.
What do you think about nihilistic views on life?
Well, I got it. I do this video thing where I argue with somebody I don't agree with, and I try to reason with them and them with me. And occasionally, I come up to a brick wall because I'm talking to a crazy person, or on a rare occasion, I'll talk to somebody who actually changes my mind. And one of them was a nihilist.
Okay.
I had always been lied to about what nihilists are.
Okay.
I thought
There's
that
different
I was
schools of
told
thought.
that nihilists believe in nothing. No. Not believing anything on faith is not the same thing as believing in nothing. There's a subtle but important difference. So what the basis of nihilism is that we don't believe that a purpose to life is arbitrarily applied by some external being. If you want your life to mean anything, you get to decide what you want it to mean and then work
You
to that
manufacture
end.
your own meaning. Yes.
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 And your life doesn't have to mean anything if you don't want to, and most life doesn't.
Well, from a certain perspective.
There's plenty of chickens whose lives it means nothing more than what I eat. So that's not a meaning
Don't
of
say
life.
that to the vegans.
Yeah, I know. I'm having I'm wrestling with that too.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a tough one, the
Yeah.
morality of it, I have to say. As somebody that eats meat and then think about it, sometimes, tough times. But
Sorry.
anyway, yeah.
Sorry, you said
Jump in.
you said before, just tracking back a lot. You said before that you used to be a Christian. I just wanted to know the reason why you stopped being a
The
Christian.
day I was reborn in Christ.
Content over everything from your belly.
God, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen.
That day, I found myself just kind of like floating around in a euphoria, like a daze. It often happens. It doesn't happen just to Christians either. I've heard people talk about accepting Krishna and going. The Beatles talk about something similar. So I know it happens in other people. But I remember asking a friend of mine, who is now a Southern Baptist minister running a Christian school, who teaches creationism. Yeah, but he was my best friend in high school. I asked him